Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak. It's great honor to present what we do in our lab and how we move technology from inception, from basic research to actually translational stage, and some more successful than other so far, but a lot of technologies actually made through this journey. So I'm going to talk about today plasmas, right? So what is a plasma? So basically any gas that can be converted into plasma by doing something what's called ionization, where you remove electron from atom and made two charges, right? So we are working with this. This is our bread and butter, and there are many plasmas that you can find in nature, the plasmas in technology, etc. And these days, plasma is used in variety of technologies that actually, all microelectronic, maybe 80% of my microelectronic produce with, significant assistance of plasma and etc. Right. So I will present two aspects of how we use plasma in my lab. So first, I would start with propulsion, right? Space propulsion is the area where we worked for many, many years. We developed various means to control small and larger satellites while they're in space, right? So, and again, as I mentioned, it goes from basic research, kind of, creating some concept, how the plasma can be controlled, utilized in the best possible way, and then study some of these technologies and actually uh, building the satellites that incorporate our technology and launching satellite. This is the first launch with our technology that followed by many others, and then we actually commercialize. So there is a company that's two members of the company is actually in the audience, my postdoctoral researchers in the lab that created this company GW that licensing big package of these technologies. And I will show you some example of current work that was done by one of postdocs, Anmol, that's in audience. But this is basically our activity. It started at about 2013 by NASA Ames selecting our thruster right here for their mission, and then working with U.S. Naval Academy when they incorporated our thrusters in their platform and launch. Then additional launch was later on with joint program, NASA, Korean Space Agency, and us. And there is an ongoing, I guess it's maybe not the right audience, but to promote this, but this is student project building our own GW first satellite, and hopefully will be launched, within a year. So let me show some of the current work. This is from ANMOL. This is supported by DARPA. Is developing, new generation of technology and actually platform for satellite that can fly very, very low, basically on the border between space and the air, right? We're talking about something like 100 kilometers or so, right? And the technology that we are developing would be able to maintain the satellite for very long period of time, countering the drugs that resist at those altitudes. Now, let me now switch to my main part of my talk, which is to do with biomedical application of plasma. So, and actually, term plasma came from Erwin Langmuir, Nobel Prize laureate chemist, that borrowed this from the blood plasma, right? We all know the blood plasma, and he saw similarity in plasma. You have different type of particles, positive, negative charges, and so forth. This like kind of remind him of platelets that exist in the blood, and he gave this this name of the plasma. So plasma was actually used, well, not exactly plasma, I would say electricity, was used in medicine, for many, many years. So it started more than 150 years ago, and this is a demonstration of using, electrical discharges by Tesla, right? And that's followed by many, many work by, a lot of hospitals were doing clinical trials, books were written, etc. And these are some devices that were used to, to heal, various diseases. The problem was that premise was wrong. The premise was that that's about the passing the current, high frequency currents through the body, and the idea was that that has some kind of therapeutic effect, and that was not exactly what's happening, and I will come back to that. Right, so this is where plasma or electricity currently, right? So we developed different devices. We tested in cells, we tested on in animal environment. We developed various ideas of how mechanistic, we can approach to this. And notionally, we basically break it down into two different aspects or modalities. We call it chemical. The plasma produce some chemistry because we operate in the air. It converts oxygen, nitrogen into very reactive species, but at a room temperature. So you can actually touch these devices, you don't feel any sensation, right? But it has a lot of reactivity. But on the other hand, there is a lot of physical effect associated with broadly electromagnetic fields and different frequencies. And I will just show you, this is a basically response of cell viability as function of, let's say, treatment in the minutes. And these are two different mechanisms where we can separate them, chemical and physical. And you can see they actually affect differently cells, right? This particular cell that we are considering. Now, if you take something even more interesting example, let's say this is a brain cancer, right? And we're talking about, comparing, let's say, cancer cells and normal cells. And we are looking into chemical effect and physical effect. And chemical turns to be not selective. Actually, you kill more normal cells than cancer cells, but physical is actually selective. So that's the idea. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility and if you do it right. Right? And even more interesting, this is a bladder cancer example, and these are two different cell lines that represent a bladder cancer. And here you can see the chemical is blue and physical is red. And you can see here that the chemical for this cell line, chemical is more effective. And for the other cell lines, physical is more effective, right? So, these two legs that exist in the plasma simultaneously, and there is a possibility, of course, separate them, it actually, turns out to be very important. But I venture to say that the advantage of a plasma is not on what I just described. It's in the fact that the plasma can be adapted or adjusted in real time based on response. So presumably you have this formation of a plasma, various reactive species, and you measure in real time response of a normal cell and cancer cell, and if there is a way to monitor this response and using machine learning translate into the action in real time, we can actually find very specific dose and composition and modalities, we talk about physical and chemical, that will be most effective for this particular scenario. So in other words, this is a personalized approach. Right? So and plasma allows this to do, because just by changing a little bit of a voltage in the matter of microsecond, we will have totally different drug that we prepare on fly, right? This is the kind of real power of plasma. So, and this is the first device that actually built, I think it's first in the world that built, that actually fully autonomous. So this device use, electrical signal impedance measurement to inform of what happened to cells, and it find right composition, right treatment. And you can see here, well, maybe not so clear, but the idea here that if you do it randomly, you're going to have scatter. But if you do it with adaptive, with this way, so you actually can hit the target right there, right? So, but we can do even better. We can use artificial neural network and find what is the right recipe that require for very particular treatment. And in this case, we don't even need to know a priori anything about cells or anything about potential response of the cells. So, and this is an example of using artificial neural network to train plasma that can do different type of therapies. So this is, proxy for, say, treating cancer. We want to maximize hydroxyl, right, as a reactive species. For wound healing, we would like to maximize NO. And for decontamination, we would like to maximize ozone. And we can use one single device, and we can find what is the right combination of different settings in this device that can maximize outcome for these three different, treatment. Okay, so how medical companies start? So, we have cool technology, and therefore, obviously, everyone will be excited. I just call someone in AH and tell them, hey, I have the technology. I know how to use machine learning to train it. And tomorrow it will be, in the hospital room. Yeah, so this is basically a rocket ship. This is what I just described before, because we know how to build rockets, so we can do the same. So, but even rocket companies, they don't successful. You see, take SpaceX, right? Most successful private industry. The first launch was failure. Second was failure. At this point, someone would stop, right? So, third one also failure. So that's it. I mean, who gives more money? But then success will start, right? So we have to be patient and persistent. And in particular, if we really, believe it, what we do. So this is the first kind of clinical trial and first technology that the license, and was very modest. The idea was basically to treat clinical trial, surgical margins. So presumably there is a surgery going on, and I actually witnessed myself. I was in the OR at that point, and it was April 2017, but the first surgery was performed. And since then was over 20, and the idea was that, yeah, you remove small lesion around the tumor, and this way you can minimize, surgical margins. And this technology was just last year got clearance for soft ablation, and it's already on the market. And I just heard last week that there is a first account in Georgia, one of the hospitals, that will be doing this surgery using this device. Now, of course, we want to do something better, even maybe non-invasive. So this is invasive. This is when we have to do surgery, and it's kind of limited to what we want to do. So how about using plasma in non-invasive way? Now, there is one company publicly traded called Novacure, and the idea of this is that you can treat brain tumor, and basically you apply electric field, very low electric field, very low frequency for very long period of time, and the time is determined by the cell cycle. So we're talking about hours and hours. Practically, it's a 1 day. So the patient need to wear for 1 day this helmet, and there is a very small really improvement. We're talking about 3 months, basically improvement of life expectancy, right? So we actually did this side-by-side comparison, and this is, in vitro, but the point was that if, this is Novacure, it's require 4 hours, let's say, for this particular cell lines to reach some small decrease of cell viability, while we can do this in a matter of 60 seconds, right? To get even better result, right? So, and that's kind of motivated us to start new company. It's called PlasmaCure. And the idea is basically electricity and medicine. This is going back to Tesla. So here what we do is we build plasma inside of this box. We call it discharge tube. And we extract only electromagnetic waves at particular frequencies. And these waves, allow us to couple selectively to cancer cells and promote the therapy when the particular drugs, standard care drug, will be used. So this is very modest kind of approach. You don't change regimen. We're going to use the same kind of standard drug, but we're going to enhance the outcome with utilizing, plasma. So this is preclinical trial that we did at Duke University, because that's kind of, best place for brain tumor treatment. And we see that just a single 4 minutes, pre-treatment with the plasma, and then followed by 2 weeks of chemotherapy, has significant improvement of life expectancy for this mice population. So basically, in my view, when we're talking about plasma using in medicine, it's a solving puzzle. It's a puzzle about, plasmas, building plasmas, particular devices, understanding the efficacy, of course, understanding the mechanism, but also getting the FDA approval. So this all kind of create this some kind of tension on the first glance, but on the other hand, if you know what you're trying to accomplish, you have to have this kind of four-dimensional vision, right? At the very least, to really move a needle. So with that, I want to thank you, and I want to thank my team, people that were past in this group and contributed a lot. It's really not my effort. It's student and postdocs and collaborators and support from different foundation and government. Thank you so much.